I would like to introduce our speaker, and the Board of Trustees puts a great deal of thought into selecting a graduation speaker. We often look to our alumni to find strong examples of men and women who have made a difference in the world, and tonight I'd like to introduce you to one, Thomas Anthony Penny. Tony grew up here in Charles County, graduated from Lackey High School, serving as senior class president, student representative, Charles County Board of Ed, Maryland State President of the Future Business Leaders. He proudly served our nation as in the Marine Corps Reserves and bases all around the country. Tony is an award-winning voiceover talent whose clients include Ralph Lauren, Honda, GE, Verizon Wireless. He most recently settled his family in Baltimore and is a member of the BridgeLeader Network. He's actively involved in teaching, facilitating discussions on the principles of racial reconciliation and multicultural effectiveness in Kenya, throughout the Middle East, New York City, Los Angeles, Ferguson, Missouri, and most recently in his hometown, Baltimore, Maryland. So I'm confident that you're going to find his words of wisdom from his experience to be a very powerful takeaway for our graduates as you build the bridge to your next steps in your life's journey. Tony, please come to the podium.
Thank you, Mike. To President Gottfried, esteemed faculty and trustees, county commissioners, honored guests, beloved family and friends, and most of all to the phenomenal class of 2015. Thank you so much for this humbling opportunity. What Mike didn't mention is I also am the assistant producer for a very popular talk show here in Washington on one of the most listened to Christian talk stations in the country, and I work directly for a multicultural megachurch in Maryland. I promise you tonight, though, I'm not going to give you a sermon. I am going to take an offering near the end, though, so you want to get ready for that. What in the world am I doing here? I have to admit, when I got the call earlier this year asking me to deliver tonight's commencement address, I had to fight the almost overwhelming urge to ask if they had the right number. I'm just a guy. I walk these halls just like you. I walk this campus, searching in vain for parking near my first class. I had teachers that were impactful to me who really heard the call on their lives to be educators, and I had, quite frankly, some that probably should have been called something other than teachers. My beginnings were humble, to say the least. I was adopted by parents who had barely a grade school education. My father was a World War II vet, and he spent more than 3 decades at the same job just down the road in Potomac Heights in Indian Head. Hello, Mr. Mayor. My mother spent most of her adolescence and adulthood as a domestic, which is a nice word we use today for someone who is a maid. She worked for a wealthy family here in the county at a large estate that sits just a few hundred yards from this very place called Thainston. It's been a heck of a journey, and what a difference a couple of decades makes. The last time I was here as a student in 1994, you had a completely different name. You weren't even the College of Southern Maryland then. There are more than almost 10,000 more students than were here when I was a student. And we didn't even have a web page back then, if you can imagine such a thing. Let me start by saying to the class of 2015, I'm proud of you. Some of you are achieving a lifelong dream, and it's taken some of you a little longer to get here than others, both chronologically and physically. But you made it. You studied, you sacrificed, and you crossed the finish line. I'm so proud of you. And if I'm being honest, I'm also a little envious of you. For many of you, this is a fresh start. It's a new beginning. It's a brand new page and a new chapter of your life that you get to write. I'm a little envious of that. But also, I want to warn you. I want to warn you not to listen to your haters, even that little hater that might be between your own ears. Some people are going to tell you that you can't achieve what you've set out to achieve. It's too hard. People like you don't make it. You've got too much baggage. You need to be practical. But in the immortal words of that wise philosopher, Taylor Swift, shake it off. Haters gonna hate. Let your haters fuel your greatness. Do it for the ones that want to see you fail. I also want to warn you not to give in to comfort and complacency. Life happens. One day you're on your way to something major, a dream that you've always had, and the next day you wake up and you've got bills and a mortgage and responsibilities and obligations that for the life of you, you cannot remember ever agreeing to. Life happens, and sometimes that happens when you take your eyes off the prize. I hope that you're on a path that you chose, and not one that was chosen for you. I hope that these years spent studying have been towards a dream that inspires you, not a dream that inspires somebody else for which you have no passion. Most of all, I hope that you have the courage to follow that dream. See, I believe that your dreams are God-breathed. However you define God, as God or Allah or Jehovah or the Creator or the universe or the force, whatever. Your dream, that thing inside of you that inspires passion and maybe motivates you to get out of bed in the morning, that dream was planted in you by something bigger than you. To ignore it, to suppress it, to let other people make you compromise it, is nothing short of a sin. It is nothing less than spiritual suicide to allow your dream to wither and die without ever coming to fruition because of your hard work. I spent almost 5 years working a job I had no passion for. I would get on the metro every single day, and I would see people who had no passion on their face, no purpose, no energy, blank faces, making their way to jobs that they didn't like, probably with people that they didn't like, all because they gave up on their dream a long time ago. May it never be so for you. Now, eventually I left that job and finished my degree, and while my journey has been more of a winding road than a straight line, it's allowed me to find passion and joy in what I do. And I want you to find it too. My hope and my prayer for you is that you live a life of passion and that you live it on purpose. Now, Merriam-Webster defines passion as a strong feeling of enthusiasm or excitement for something. Passion is the thing that gives you drive and determination. It's that fire in the belly that so many people talk about. That thing you tell yourself you'd do for free if you ever hit the lottery. Webster also defines purpose as the aim or goal of a person. All of us have purpose. If you're not sure what your purpose is, here's a hint for you. It's that thing you daydream about doing with your life. It's usually the object of your passion. Now, it's easy to let passion putrefy and purpose just peter out, but greatness comes from renewing your passion and your purpose daily, doing something, no matter how small, every single day to get you closer to your dreams. I believe there's 4 key ingredients to living a life of passion and to live it on purpose. I'll tell you what they are, and then I'll sit down and you can talk about me on social media. The first ingredient is humility. Philippians chapters 2, verses 3 and 4 say, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others." My father was a humble man. He taught me how to serve others and to think of them ahead of myself. In addition to his regular job, he also fixed people's furnaces. And so on many a winter night, he would get a call in the middle of the night from someone whose furnace had died. And they'd say, "You don't have to come out right now, but if you can come out sometime tomorrow and fix it, I'd really appreciate it." My father would hang up the phone, and he'd get out of his warm bed, and for reasons known only to him and God, he'd get me out of my warm bed. And we'd drive to the person's house so that they wouldn't be cold any longer than they absolutely had to be. He'd crawl under people's houses on freezing February nights, oftentimes without any payment except maybe a cup of coffee and a plate of food. But he didn't mind. He put other people before himself. Now understand, humility is not being selfless all the time. That's neither wise nor practical. Humility is not selflessness all the time. It's simply thinking of yourself less. A life of passion lived on purpose is done in service to other people and to something greater than ourselves. Second ingredient is optimism. Now, optimism, in my view, is nothing more than believing in yourself and believing that your purpose can and will be achieved no matter what life throws at you. Now, optimism is not delusion. If you watch American Idol at all, usually in the audition phase, there are some delusional optimists there. You have to take stock of your ability, and you have to have the skills and the tools necessary to achieve your dreams. But as I said, life happens. Things can get in your way, but optimism is what picks you up when you're knocked down. Never, ever give in to doubt. Doubt has killed more dreams than failure ever will. The third ingredient is perseverance. Perseverance is really just stubbornness with a purpose. All of us know somebody who's stubborn for no real good reason. Perseverance is really just stubbornness with a purpose. Never give up on something that you really want, no matter how much time it's going to take. The time is going to pass regardless. You might as well fill it working towards a goal. And believe me, if you think waiting is hard, waiting for that dream, try living with regret. Trust me, it's much harder. Now, life is going to knock you down sometimes. But as my friend Les Brown says, when life knocks you down, try to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. Believe in yourself and believe in your dreams. Remember, by perseverance, the snail made it to Noah's Ark. Some of you will get that later. Just tap somebody on the way home. The fourth ingredient is enthusiasm. Whatever you do, no matter how great, no matter how small, give it your all. There's a story of a master builder named Clyde who decided that he was done. He wanted to retire. He went to his boss and he said, I can't build houses anymore. I'm too old. I'm too tired. I don't want to do this. And his boss thought about it for a while and he said, look, Clyde, if you could just build one more house, just one more house for me, we'll call it even. Clyde thought about it, said, fine, I'll do this last house. But his heart wasn't in it, and it showed in his work. He used shoddy, subpar materials. He cut corners. The house barely even passed inspection. And on the last day of the project, the boss called everybody together, and he got Clyde and his wife, and he said, as many of you know, this is Clyde's last day on this project. And Clyde, you've been a faithful employee to us for so many years. We wanted to do something special to honor you. So this house that you've built, we're not selling it. This is going to be the house that you live in for the rest of your life. Never do anything halfway. Humility, optimism, perseverance, and enthusiasm. That's what it takes to live a life of passion, a life lived on purpose. And if you haven't figured it out yet, and your English teachers are probably going to be upset that you didn't, the first letter of each of those spells hope. Hope is what I saw in the eyes of mothers and children in the poor slums of Ethiopia. People who had no idea where their next meal was going to come from. But they had hope. Hope is what I saw in the eyes of police and protesters in Ferguson, Missouri, that I helped gather together in meetings behind closed doors. People who were law abiders and law enforcers who hoped for nothing more than to live side by side with dignity and mutual respect. Hope is what I saw in the eyes of my 10-year-old twins when they learned how to ride their bikes without training wheels for the first time. And they couldn't wait to take on the next challenge that life threw at them. And hope is what I see in the eyes of each and every one of you. The desire to maximize your God-given potential to change your lives and to change the lives of those around you and the world that you live in. So as you leave this place, as you turn to a clean page and begin to write the next chapter in your life, my advice to you is this: burn the ships at the shore and go forward and take hold of the dream that is yours. Go forward with undying passion, with unyielding purpose, and unending hope. Seize the day and make it yours. Thank you again for this incredible opportunity, and may God richly bless you on your journey.
I want to know who left the door open for the snails to come into the room. What a pleasure. Thank you. You've given us all hope and inspiration.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Please come back again.
I will. Oh,
Wait a minute.
There's more.
More surprises. Well, I think you know that Mr. Penny was a student at the college, and he hasn't admitted this, but I would say one of his mistakes, if he's made any mistakes, was to leave before he graduated. And he did complete a significant number of courses and credits at our college. And after we invited Mr. Penny to be our speaker this evening, our registrar's office did a degree audit and said, you know what? We can transfer back those courses, those credits that he needed to get the associate degree. And so, with us this evening is another one of our graduates. Thank you. Please.